Top 10 Self-Made Billionaires Who Started With Nothing. What if I told you that some of today's richest people once couldn't even afford their next meal? Today, we're counting down the top 10 self-made billionaires who literally started with nothing. When you see who's at number 1, you'll understand why failure might just be your greatest teacher. Let's dive in. Number 1. Jan. Net worth $15 plus billion. Starting at number 10, we have Jan Koum. This guy immigrated from Ukraine to California when he was 16, living in a two-bedroom apartment with his mother and grandmother. They survived on food stamps and government assistance. Jan worked as a janitor at a grocery store just to help his family survive. Fast forward years later, he co-founded WhatsApp in a small office, and when Facebook bought it for $19 billion, Jan became one of the richest immigrants in America. But if you think going from food stamps to billions is impressive, wait until you see what number 9 went through. Number 9, Howard Schultz. Net worth $4 billion. At number 9, Howard Schultz grew up in Brooklyn housing projects. His father worked multiple blue-collar jobs, and when Howard was 7, his dad broke his ankle and lost his job with no insurance or compensation. The family had no money coming in. Howard worked his way through college, selling his blood plasma to pay for textbooks. He later transformed a small Seattle coffee shop into the global Starbucks empire we know today. From selling his own blood to building a coffee empire. But number 8 will show you that sometimes rock bottom is just the foundation for something incredible. Number 8, Larry Ellison. Net worth $100 plus billion. Number 8 is Larry Ellison. Abandoned by his teenage mother, he was raised by his aunt and uncle in Chicago. He dropped out of college twice, bounced between odd jobs, and was basically a drifter in his 20s with no clear direction. At 32, he co-founded Oracle with just $2,000. Today, Oracle is worth hundreds of billions, and Larry owns most of Hawaii's 6th largest island. But if you think being abandoned and directionless is tough. Number 7 survived something that would break most people. Oprah Winfrey. Born into rural poverty in Mississippi, she built a media empire that made her the first African-American female billionaire. Her story proves that your past doesn't define your future. She wore potato sack dresses because her grandmother couldn't afford clothes. She faced abuse, was sent to live with different relatives, and became pregnant at 14, losing the baby shortly after birth. Net worth $2.5 billion. His Lithuanian immigrant father drove a taxi, and the family lived in a one-room tenement in Boston. At 12, Sheldon borrowed $200 to buy a newspaper license and started selling papers on street corners. At number 7, Oprah Winfrey, but kept fighting. Eventually, he built Las Vegas Sands and became one of the richest people in America. Number 6 turned a childhood tragedy into billion-dollar motivation. Despite all this trauma, and speaking of overcoming the impossible, number 6, Sheldon Adel. Net worth at death $35 plus billion. Number 6, Sheldon Adel. He failed at dozens of businesses, went bankrupt multiple times, but even Sheldon's persistence pales in comparison to what number 5 endured. And you won't believe how they turned rejection into billions. #5, Jack Ma. Net worth $25 plus billion. At number 5, Jack Ma from China. He failed his college entrance exam twice, was rejected from dozens of jobs, including KFC, where he was the only person rejected out of 24 applicants. When he first encountered the internet, he couldn't even use a computer. He started Alibaba in his apartment with $60,000 borrowed from friends. Today, Alibaba is worth over $200 billion. But wait until you see number 4. He arrived in America from South Korea in 1981 with his wife. He and his wife Jin Suk saved every penny for 3 years. In 1984, they opened a 900-square-foot clothing store. That store became Forever 21, generating billions in revenue. Speaking no English and having just $11,000 to their name, he worked 3 jobs simultaneously: pumping gas, janitorial work, and coffee serving, earning just $3 an hour. Because their story will make Jack Ma's struggles look like a warm-up. And Jack Ma became Asia's richest person, from being rejected by KFC to building China's Amazon. Orphaned at age 4, he was raised by relatives in northern Russia. He later bought Chelsea Football Club for $233 million, turning it into one of the world's most successful teams. As a teenager, he worked as a street mechanic, and later served in the Soviet Army. After the army, he sold rubber ducks from his apartment to make ends meet. Number 4, Duan Chang, compares to our number 1. This story will completely change how you think about failure. He drove across America in his old car, sleeping in the back seat, getting rejected by over 1,000 restaurants. Everyone said his chicken was terrible. That became the first KFC franchise. By the time he sold KFC, there were over 6,000 locations worldwide. The company he built with $87 in his pocket is now worth over $15 billion. He was told no more than 1,000 times. Drop a comment below and let me know. And if these stories motivated you to chase your own dreams, smash that like button and subscribe for more incredible success stories. Remember, your current situation is not your final destination. Until next time, keep grinding. Net worth $5 billion, selling shampoo from the back of his car. Later, he co-founded tequila. Today, he's worth billions and gives most of it away to charity. He turned 1,000 rejections into a global empire. Number 4 is Duan Chang. He'd failed at dozens of jobs: railroad worker, insurance salesman, steamboat operator, farmer. He'd been fired from most of them. His wife left him. He was living off social security checks of just $105 a month, living in a 500 square foot apartment, from $3 an hour to building a fashion empire. But number 3 will show you what happens when you bet everything on a crazy idea that everyone said would never work. Number 3, John Paul DeJoria. Net worth $3 billion. This man was homeless twice in his life. The first time, he lived in his car with his 2-year-old son, collecting empty bottles to buy food. He was selling encyclopedias door to door just to survive. At number 3, John Paul DeJoria. With a $700 loan, he co-founded John Paul Mitchell Hair Products. From homeless to haircare billionaire. But when you see number 2, you'll understand that sometimes the biggest risks create the biggest rewards. Number 2, Roman Abramovich. Net worth $12 plus billion. Number 2, Roman Abramovich. Through a series of bold business moves during Russia's privatization, he built an oil and steel empire, from selling rubber ducks to owning a Premier League team. But nothing, and I mean nothing. Number 1, Colonel Sanders. Net worth at death equivalent to $10 plus billion today. And finally, our number 1 most incredible self-made billionaire story, Colonel Harlan Sanders. At age 65, when most people are retiring, Sanders was dead broke. But Sanders had one thing: a chicken recipe. Finally, restaurant number 1009 said yes. Sanders proved that it's never too late, and failure isn't the end, it's just data. So there you have IT10, incredible humans who refuse to let their circumstances define their destiny. Which story inspired you the most?